So obviously, as a disclaimer, this is one of your VODs, so I haven't seen anything that actually happens in this. But we're gonna see kind of what goes down, see kind of what we can pick out. Now, this game you're playing MF Lux into Ezreal Zera. So how do you think this lane goes? Like,
This
how
is
do you
a
think it's
poke
going?
lane. This is
Uh huh.
mainly just a poke lane, so whoever
Okay.
pokes better wins the lane.
Uh huh. Now, what do you see about MF that makes you need to change your game plan now?
MF doesn't have any mobility, I guess.
Okay. What else do you see in her runes? What do her runes
Oh,
tell
she's
you right
Arcane
now?
Comment. She's Arcane Comment, so
Okay.
she doesn't run press the attack, so she's looking for poke.
Yeah. So she's looking for kind of poke MF. So yeah. So that's what she's going to be playing for. So you have to also play for kind of that poke playstyle.
Right.
So right. So let's see what happens here. So
So,
yeah.
yeah, so level 1, I always try to either look for an invade with my team, or I just want to make sure I just get river control so we can make sure that they aren't invading. But I guess we want to go for this thing.
Yeah, so that's okay. Obviously, Lux isn't great at invading, though. So this is good that you're pinging to back out. Because we don't really have any CC. So there's no real point. And you never really want to be taking your Q level 1 on Lux anyway. Because then you lose your push at level 1. You lose your ability to push hard. So obviously Ivan is no leash. So this ward, what do you think is bad about this ward?
The reason why I place this ward is if we are going to go for this level 1 cheese, I need to see where they're coming from. Like, are they going to be coming from that safe side, or are they going to be coming from that side? Because if I see them there, then I know I can't go for this cheese, and I just go straight for the lane.
Okay,
That's why I placed that.
let me ask you something else. What do you think your goal is with what you're doing right here?
I just want to lend some poke. I don't want to commit to this, because everyone can just kill us.
Yeah,
It's
and
cheap.
you have no way of 100 zeroing them, like especially with
Yeah,
only one
correct.
ability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
the reason this ward is kind of bad is because if they don't show here, by let's say 135 ish, then that means that they're not going to be here. So instead of putting this ward, what you want to do is save it for later on into the game, and just look for a bit of poke here and then just leave. If your minions are kind of even in the lane, you're gonna want to go down there anyway and kind of interact with them. So yeah. Now let me just change the scenario slightly and see what you change. Now what do you think you could do in this situation if we changed the the lane from Ezreal Xerath to maybe, let's say, Kaiser Thresh? What could you have done in this window instead, considering you're not leashing?
I could just wait until they walk into this bush, and I just throw and eat and just run away.
Okay, so what else can you do within the lane if you don't have to pull?
Oh, you can just sit in the bush and then wait for them to show up and then look to throw
Okay.
and eat.
So let me show you another thing that you can do that can actually help you very much in these lower elos. So what you can also do is if so
You're talking
they
about pulling the wave, right? You're
yeah.
talking about pulling the wave?
Uh-huh, yep. So if say they're there, what we can do is we could just sit out here, wait for the casters to all target us, dip in here, and then they'll lose one minion here, which gives you level 2 earlier. Now, why do you think you can't do that in this lane that you're in now? Why do you think it's not possible here?
Uh,
So the reason why you can't really do it here is because you're in a poke lane. So you're against poke. Now what happens if you do that here is, yeah, they're going to lose 1 minion of XP, but what's also going to happen is they're going to end up getting a slow push into your tower, which is then going to mean that they can poke you out massively under tower and there's nothing you can really do about it. So in this situation you can't do it, but that's kind of one of the things that you need to be considering when it comes to kind of working out, can I do this, can I do this, and stuff like that. So let's see how this goes. So see in this situation, this is okay though. So do you see how this ward is kind of useless though?
yeah.
So this was fine though. We got a lot of poke off here. The problem is though, we did take Q level 1, which, you know, isn't too hot, but it'll work. See, and this is the thing.
I shouldn't have gone for. I shouldn't have gone for that auto attack.
No. So the thing is, to be fair, here you should have had E. So already the lane is like super doomed now. So you walking up for this is just kind of thrown your entire lead so far. Because now you're both down on HP when you had a significant amount higher. And now it's very, very hard for you to actually orchestrate yourself in this lane. This MF might get it, but like what you've basically done here is you've got a nice lead from this dry bush, and then instead of playing for that HP into level 2, so this HP advantage that you have here, you want to be saving this HP and use it for level 2, because level 2 is going to be where you can actually get a lot off, because you'll have your Q and your E. So it's kind of like you just kind of got a lead and then you just threw it for no real reason. And again, that makes your lane a lot harder to play out now. Especially considering your early game is meant to be very, very oppressive. So, right. So now we're helping to push for 2. Okay, movement not too bad there. So Xerath got it early. Now what do you think is one of the big things about this? What do you think is the unfortunate thing about this situation? From that earlier trade. What have you noticed in terms of the laning phase right now?
I don't have any health pops.
Okay. So, you're level 2, MF level 2, Xerath level 2. Oh. Ezreal lost CS. So because Ezreal lost CS, what you should have been doing at this point is, as you hit level 2, you shouldn't be standing this far back.
I was waiting. I was waiting for him to like poke me, and then I was gonna walk up. Like I know I was going to walk up when I was about to hit level 2, but then they started playing a little bit up, so I had to back off a little bit. And then right here, you see that I'm like being sure that I just.
Yeah. So this is okay.
Right here, we should just focus the Xerath instead of just.
No. The Xerath does more. The Ezreal does a lot more. This is fine focus. That was fine. Okay. So here, like, you should just be using your abilities on the wave as well. So right here, your goal is always going to be to reset.
Yes.
So you should be using the rest of your mana and everything on the wave earlier. So your Q as well, just everything. Just dump it all. Because now, do you see, the wave is stagnant.
Yeah, the wave is still pushing into them, which is not good for us, but we can't really push it any else anymore because of the amount of time to shut it out.
So, yeah, we took too long. Like, so here, like, straight away, Q into the wave.
So right here, I should be auto-attacking it already.
Yeah, or using your Q as well.
Gotcha.
Because you don't need your Q, and it's an Eve. So the thing with Eve is, like, what do you think Eve wants to do in this game?
Eve wants to just look for picks.
Yeah, well, she just wants to farm up for a while, especially until she gets 6. So at this stage of the game, you're in absolutely no danger here. So you don't need to save your Q. If say for example we were against say a Talon jungle, then we might have to be a little bit careful because he might just come and jump over the wall and we need Q to escape. But against an Eve, it doesn't really matter. So using your Q on the wave could have actually meant that you would have been able to actually stall it.
Yeah, for a slow push it. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So even that fraction of a second quicker would have actually got it a little bit further, because the only minions that you need to hit the tower are the melees. So as soon as the melees hit this tower, the rest of the minions will stagger here, and these casters will actually come into it.
It's going to slow push back into what? It's going to bounce the wave back.
Yeah, the wave will bounce, yeah. Now, this wave will still bounce, but it'll stack up before it bounces. A little bit too much. Because it'll stall on these casters here. So, yeah, okay, so goodbyes here. Sweeper, okay, it's maybe a little bit early.
Well, one thing I've gotten used to seeing is that they really like to ward that bushes, so I just get sweeper early now instead of just going for the.
I mean, sweeper is good. Sweeper is good for sure. The thing is, one thing that you want to be doing in this game, is your normal wards become a lot more valuable. Because as soon as Eve hits level 6, then you have to go and ward her camps. Which, I mean, to be fair, it probably won't matter because you'll actually have your support amp quite early, but those wards are actually really, really valuable. So the one of the other problems here as well is that we kind of roamed too mid early, but what do you think is kind of bad about this roam?
Honestly, I didn't think the run was bad because they aren't even near our tower yet. Like they're still at their side, and MF isn't even in lane yet. So I thought this run was fine.
The thing is, like, you're not really gonna get that much off from it, like because
Oh.
his wave is in a good position, and yeah, you're not really gonna get anything there. Now the problem is also you're very close to 3, and your XP is a little bit. I mean, you probably didn't lose much, but ooh. So what do you think is a big problem with this ward?
I don't.
So right now, they are pushing the wave. They have additional minions. They have another wave coming up now. What's going to happen as soon as you go back into this lane? First of all, you've already zoned yourself out.
The thing is, I have my jungler near me.
I mean, even so.
Can't
Like,
just. I guess he's not wanting to help.
so one of the first problems is that you can't really rely on junglers in these elos. He's probably not even watching this. Like, he's actually getting a recall in. He's not even looking at what's going on. So right here, if they would have kept this aggression up and just kept you out of here, they could have actually just poked you out of the lane and just kept you away from XP for super long. Also, what they can do as well is, I mean, they've kind of hinted it because Ezreal has fallen a little bit too low on HP. But what they could also do is Xerath could use his mana on this wave to push it in and then just go and clear your control ward away. So you only really want to go and put control wards in this bush specifically when our wave, when we have prior really, so that we can kind of poke them out and they can't really walk up to the ward without taking a lot of damage. But overall,
I feel like for the most part, my laning phase isn't the issue. It's something to do with the mid game that is just causing me to lose lane so much. Because I'm very good at laning for the most part, at least in this elo. I win lane almost every game. Because I just know how to like.
So the issue with that statement though is, sure, you might be winning lanes, but you're still doing things wrong within the lane that can get you a bigger advantage. And also, you're playing Lux, who Lux is meant to win lane. Lux is very obnoxious because their E is such a long, like a large skill shot, that it's very hard to actually get away from. And especially because of slow it provides as well, and you've got your Q, which means overall Lux kind of by default wins lane. So it's always to do with what you do outside of the lane, but like it's more of a case of what you can do in lane to do more. Okay. Okay.
Flashed. Yeah. Sometimes I just like to throw out my W to try to bait them into like trying to juking it.
Yeah,
you know,
I saw that.
Right there. The issue was he juked my Q, so
yeah,
that's why I tried.
So what do you think you should have done in that situation instead?
I think I should just throw the E to slow him and then throw the Q.
Yeah, so your E is set up for your Q. Like, so you want to throw the E first. Now, what do you also know about high and low ground?
About what?
High and low ground.
What's that?
So,
is it the way they dodge? Like if they dodge up or down? Is that what you mean?
No. So this area here is actually a different level of the map. So it's actually easier if I just quickly. So what I'll do is I'll quickly just show you in the client. So this is a very, very important piece of information for these situations, because you can actually throw your skill shot in this situation and 9 out of 10 times it'll actually land. Even if it doesn't look like it will. So I'll just open my client. While that's loading, I will continue. But I'll show you this little trick in a second. So yeah, the first thing you should have done is you should have thrown your E.
Yeah, I should have thrown the E and then that would slow him and then I can throw the Q.
Yeah.
Something I need to work on still.
Yeah, so let me open practice tool. So Jin is who I always use to show this concept off. I won't bother with runes or anything. But yeah, now Eve's always going to kill you. Now this was pretty bad by us because we've just died in a situation where we shouldn't have. One thing that you have to kind of learn to do, especially in all elos, is if you've already messed up in a situation, don't chase for it more, right? Like, you'll still get the chunk of him, you'll still get quite a lot of him, just don't chase because you're running into uncharted territory where there's absolutely nothing there, right? So you can't really continue chasing. But yeah, I'll show you a little thing in terms of high and low ground. Now, if we don't need items. Now, so, if say let's put a dummy here and a dummy here. Do you see this like little ridge?
Yeah.
Well, this is actually the game's way of indicating to you that this is a different level of play than what this is. So what this means is this is like a hill leading down into the river. So what this means is we actually have to change our skill shots based on this. So if we were to say throw our skill shot like this, right? Oh, it doesn't hit. That's crazy, right? It looks like it should hit. Like, what? Damn. But if we throw like this, okay. Do you see that?
What?
Yeah. So because we're on a lower level of ground, if we throw our skill shot on a lower level, we have a significantly higher chance of actually hitting our target. Now, especially considering all champions, the hitboxes are kind of based around the base of the feet. So this little section here is basically a little bit of kind of hitbox that is out of range, right? So what ends up happening is when we throw, even if it hits a tiny bit of that hitbox, it'll still register and go through. Now, vice versa, if we're on a higher ground, what do you think we need to do? So if we're on a lower ground, we need to throw skill shots lower. If we're on a higher ground, what do you think we need to do?
Aim it higher.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, did not know about this.
So if we're chasing somebody down into lower levels, we throw our skill shot higher and there's a higher chance of it hitting. Whereas if it's here, this should look like it would 100% hit, right? But because we're on a higher level, technically we're higher. So the game is registering us, instead of being here, it's registering that we're, say, here, because we're basically at the top of a hill. So this is something that's always super, super important, because if we were to replicate this kind of area here, if, say, the Zerath was there, for example, we could have thrown lower.
Oh, aim at the feet, essentially.
Yeah.
When I'm going from low to high.
Yeah, so not even just at the feet, aim a lot lower than where they're actually standing. And even if, say, see, it's meant to go directly over this champion, it'll actually hit that one. And same vice versa. So look out for the different levels of ground. You can test this out in practice tool as well. It also applies to if you're sieging the base. It's not as drastic here, but this also, so low ground, lower. So again, see, so if you're sieging the base, it can be super important. There's also other places, like obviously this bit leading out. So this top lane is on a higher kind of level. In bot lane, this is at a higher level as well. So it's very, very useful if you want to play kind of skill shot champions to understand how that works. So we'll go back to the replay now, but it's low and high ground is something that's kind of like an untold rule that most people don't even know about. But it'll increase the ability for you to hit your skill shots drastically. It's very good. So see here, for example, he did dodge a little bit far up, so we kind of threw it a bit off, but yeah. So either way, in this situation, you don't really want to be hard committing to kind of this fight.
I think the reason why I committed was because I thought that it was a 3v2 instead of 3v3.
So one thing that you should always be looking to do is before you ever walk into any dark territory, you want to say to yourself, do I know where the jungler is? If the answer is no, then they're there. So kind of have a little bit more of a conserved play style, and just if you don't know where they are, they're there. They're 100% there. Just believe that they are, and that's about it. It'll help massively, don't worry. Right, so now this is a little bit risky, but I mean MF is pushing in, so it's fine. They're low HP, so it's actually okay. Okay. Okay, so this is a little deep. A little too deep again, to be honest. So this is a big old mess. So at this point, to be honest, you just want to kind of stay with your MF. Like, this is way too deep. And also, again, what do you notice about this situation? Do we know where their mid lane is?
No.
Do we know where their jungler is?
No.
So they're here. Like,
Gotcha.
and I bet you, I already saw the mid, but I bet the Eve comes as well. Especially because they're red. So this another bit of trivia, actually. What is another way that you can definitely expect Eve to show up here soon?
I heard red's coming back up.
Yeah. So that's an indicator that she is going to be here. Okay. So yeah, so we end up dying for it, which again, this is a second death for no real reason. So we're just, the problem here is, and this is kind of one of the biggest issues that most people have in gold, it's kind of a very common thing, is that players in gold don't know when to back away. They don't know when something is not the right play. So for example here, yes, your team is going for it and diving deep, but you're probably the one that's going to die. I mean, Akshan's got mobility, Ivan's got a shield, I mean, you've got a shield as well, but you're a squishy support and you're level 4, so the chances are that you're the one that's going to die 9 out of 10 times. So you need to start playing way more for yourself. Because the problem here is that we're playing for the team when the team are doing really stupid things. Like, there's no way that we should be following that deep. Especially when our MF isn't there as well, right? Like, so like here, okay, and chat, no point. Nothing will come out of it. But it really doesn't matter. Now, what do you think? Why do you think this kind of row mid is a little bit iffy as well?
Like, because Akshan was already up.
I guess we get a cannon, but we're never gonna do anything to Talon in this situation. Like, MF is resetting, but look at the wave. So we can't actually see bot lane right now, but she was trying to force this wave in, and we weren't there. So we still have to prioritize our lane as a support. So right here, we should have been there to help her push that wave out.
Okay.
Because now that wave is kind of doomed, and I think he can actually freeze it. I'm not entirely sure because we haven't looked over it, but... So let's see in a second. So we get blue buff, always nice. But what you also what you also notice about your build?
I don't have any completed items.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Because I've died too much.
Yeah. Because we keep dying before we actually get significant items. So a few things that you want to use is you want to set yourself certain points where you can reset. So you want a optimal reset. So this is the best possible reset you can have. Then you want a an okay reset. This is kind of where, you know, you can get something, but maybe it's not exactly what you want. And then you have just like a no period where you do not want to reset whatsoever. Now this no period, we've been forced to reset twice in this period because we've got 2 deaths. So already within the first 8 minutes, we've already messed up because we should have our boots by now. Like, we should have our soaks, but we don't because we've had to buy an amp tome and we've had to buy sapphire crystal. So we've ended up resetting on really bad backtimers. Now, why do you think these items are kind of really bad on Lux as well? Why do you think they're really bad for the resets?
Because they're component items, and component items don't have any passives.
Yeah, but
and
what?
Also, they take up inventory space.
And what are they going to turn into?
Lost chapter.
Okay. Do you need Lost Chapter on the spot?
I need to get the blasting one with 850, but
yeah. So this support item already gives you so much mana regen. It's broken. It's unreal. This is why AP supports are so good right now. So we end up in this position where we want our soak boots because that's 18 magic pen, which considering this edge roll right now will have 34. We're reducing his damage his resistances significantly by having those boots. So our damage absolutely skyrockets as soon as we get them. We get to a point where if we've got our soak boots with a dark seal at level 6, we're gonna one-shot someone. Like, especially if they've been chunked out a little bit. Say MF lands 1Q, we're gonna one-shot them. So in these situations, this is kind of putting you back significantly as well, because you don't need Lost Chapter. Lost Chapter is not really a necessity for bot lane. One of the things that I do a lot of the time is when I'm playing Lux Support, I'll go Soak Boots with a Dark Seal, and then I'll get Blasting Wand and 2 Amplifying Tomes, and then on that spike, I'll just go and get as many kills as I can, so that when I reset, I don't even need to go with Lost Chapter, I can just go with Ludens. Because Lost Chapter, you know, you don't really need that kind of additional mana that you get, you just need to do damage.
What about for, like, enchanter supports? Then would you get the mana item first? Like, looks like when you play Janna and stuff, you would need, like, the Strela, so you buy the...
Band of Glass?
Instead of buying the Cinder Hulk component, buying the...
Band of Glass, it's okay. It's okay. It's a little bit different on those supports because you basically, when you're playing those supports, you win the lane by you attack the mana pool of the enemies. So it's kind of like, say you're playing into this lane right now and you're playing, say, Soraka or Janna, stuff like that. Your point of, say, let's use Janna. The point of Janna is you use your E to shield the MF, which then in turn blocks their poke, which then in turn means that they have less mana. So in what you then end up doing is you keep shielding until they got no mana, and then you can kind of control the lane, right? So you could do a massive amount like that. So you kind of attack their mana pool by using shields, which is kind of the important part. Whereas in with things like Lux, not so much. So let's see what we do now.
Just zoning for EXP right now.
Okay, so what should we also do right now, do you think?
Well, I also need to...
In this position, what do you think we should be doing?
We need to slow push the wave in so we crash the next wave.
I mean, sure, but you've got blue buff and full mana.
Just keep spamming E?
Yeah. Just throw things at him. Because you regen so much mana right now. That, okay. Yeah, you should throw him. So now we do, and see how much damage we did. But we could have been doing that way earlier. Here we accidentally hit 2 minions. But see, another E. Okay. Okay, so I mean, flash was probably necessary, but we should have also left earlier. So we're not looking at a minimap anywhere near enough. Because...
Right here, I already see her on the map, so
Yeah.
I'm already walking back.
Uh-huh.
Once I saw that, I'm like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, but we should have gone earlier. So right here, like, there's nothing for us to look at right now.
Okay.
But, like, we're still doing it. And see right here, like, we've just clicked, like, Eve is showing here, and we've just clicked, like, here and here. Which, our click should only be back here as soon as we see Eve. Now, another thing that we should have been doing is as soon as she starts coming, we want to kind of veer off like this. Because then we get as much distance away as possible. Okay. Okay, so now it's a little bit awkward to actually catch Ezreal. So it's good that we changed this by. The boots are definitely more valuable, but see at what time you got your boots. You got your boots at 10 minutes 30. Which means your ability to impact this lane has gone down drastically. It's significantly reduced. Because you should have had these boots way, way ago. Instead we had a Sapphire Crystal that didn't really do anything. And we had blue buff as well because we got an Ivan. Okay, so here we just need to go for it. Don't be so indecisive. Like, your ultimate is such a low cooldown.
Oh, they got it. That's why I felt like I didn't need to use it.
Pretty sure your ultimate is what? 50, 60 seconds, level 1?
Yeah.
But now we get this. Yeah, 60 seconds level 1, 50 at level 2. Okay, see how much damage we did here?
Yeah.
And we didn't even have well, this was fine. We didn't even get our Q on him. So, you see how with just these two items primarily, Amptome does do a little bit, don't get me wrong. But with just these two items primarily, we've just nearly one-shot the Ezreal. So this should have come way, way earlier. We should have been level 6 way earlier this game. So, this is the thing. Even though you were saying you're constantly winning lane, so far this lane has gone horribly. Because we've kind of fallen behind. So it's kind of like these are the things that you have to iron out. You have to be consistent through and through. Because this is the thing as well. When you're playing something like Lux, you're not reliant on an ADC whatsoever. Because of the amount of kind of damage that you do, you're not reliant on an ADC ever. Like, so even if your ADC's Intin, doesn't matter. You'll just get level 6 and Soak Shoes and just one-shot their AD carry and you're completely fine. This Xerath as well, you can one-shot him easily. See, look at your E damage alone. Your E just basically halved Ezreal. So now, we just need to be very, very far up. It's good that you're using your W to bait. Also here, it's a bit unfortunate that he used his Q outside of vision. Again though, throw your E first. Your E will give you vision of the area. So throw your E, slow them, and then Q. And then you can pop your E into the ult. Or ult into the E.
So I hear the Option is just wasting his time because our wave's not even pushed in, so we can't even look for a dive.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever though. Like here, just ult. I mean, we do. And we get both. It's a little slow on the ult, but I mean it works. It's fine.
I was waiting for them to get in the line so I can get a more valuable ult.
Yeah, I mean it was okay. Okay, so this is good. Right, so let's see what's happening outside of your lane now.
It's a mix. They have complete control over mid right now.
Okay, so right here we should be pressing tab. Before we run out of base, press tab, see where we're needed. Because we have no idea what's going on the rest of the map. Like, we're not using our F keys. And we haven't tabbed.
Well, I tabbed like for that, like these moments or so.
Okay. Okay. A little bit unfortunate on that one. Okay, we get another blue. Which again, takes a lot of value off Lost Chapter, but you don't actually have enough illusions. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we could have avoided this death massively as well. I just completely glossed over this for a second, like, but... Like, what do you think is a really big grief thing that you're doing here?
Everybody's missing on the map and some dragon.
Yeah, we're walking into a dark area again with nobody else with us. So even if a fight goes down, yeah, it's kind of, there's nothing really to go. So right here, if we would have just waited for the Ivan to come, then this talent dies. Also, we used exhaust way too late. But yeah, here we should have just waited. And this is the thing, like, also the typing shot, like, I don't know if you were a little bit tilted, but typing is never really good. Because it can be perceived as so many different things. So like here, for example, like you are telling them to force it, but there's a Xerath and Ezreal there. So why is that a little bit risky? Why do they have to be a little bit hesitant even though it's 2v3?
Oh, Evelyn's missing on the map now?
Okay, but let's say Evelyn's still top. It's Ivan, MF, and Akshan against Ezreal and Xerath. Why do they have to be careful if they try and force this and rush it 2v3?
They can get poked out?
Yeah, because it's not really a 2v3. Because the Infernal Dragon is there. Now, the problem with the Infernal Dragon being there is it does a lot of damage. Like, a lot of damage. So we end up in this kind of position where, even though they could potentially side, they still have to be careful. Like, they can't just, just all out it, you know? And also Talon is around too. Now, the dragon also does a ridiculous amount. So, just a bit of trivia. How much damage do you think the dragon actually does? How much AD?
Exact amount?
Yeah, how much AD would you say the dragon has? So, this dragon actually has 100 AD.
Oh.
So, it does a lot of damage. 100 AD is massive. So, this thing is going to do damage like there's an ADC there. So, it's like... And it does AoE damage because it's Infernal Dragon. So if they've got a dragon poking them out, and then the enemy's poking them out, Talon is going to come and have a field day. He's just going to come and clear up. So the issue here wasn't the fact that they didn't force it, it was the fact that we kind of died, and we can't poke back. Because what do you think our job is when it comes to objective control? As a Lux. Do we do much damage to the objective?
No.
Not really, no. We do barely any. Now, the dragons actually have higher magic resist than they do armor as well. Like, dragons actually have 30 magic resist to only 21 armor. So, AD champs actually do a lot more to dragons. And Baron has has more armor than MR. I think it's 120 armor to 70 MR. But the issue with Lux as a champion is your abilities they're not constant AP. You work in ability rotations. So your goal when you're fighting is to blow everything on one person and try and 100 to 0 them, right? Now that doesn't really do much when it comes to objectives, but your abilities are basically terrain. So your E is terrain, because if you throw your E in this area, they can't walk in this area without either getting slowed or taking damage. Your Q also blocks off significant areas because it's quite wide for a skill shot. So we then end up in this position where if we're not going to do much to the dragon, then what should we be looking to do instead?
Zone them.
Zone them off, yeah. So if they were to rush the dragon and we were there, we can zone the rest of the enemy team away quite safely. We can zone 2 of them away easily with that Q alone. So we then end up putting them in a position where they can't really walk up and poke, because if they do, we're going to poke them back. So we have to consider what our purpose is in these kind of fights, and that'll determine what we can do and when we can do it. So if you knew that that was your purpose, then walking alone in the dark, it's like, oh god, no, I can't do that because I needed to be there for terrain control. So it's kind of a little, and then see even here, like now unfortunately, Talon has some of the highest MR in the game. So Talon's base MR is actually 39. So you're not going to even do true damage with your true damage spike against Talon, especially if he goes any MR on top. God knows why, he's the only champion with that high. I think Silas is the second with like 37, and then most of the champions are at like 34, 35. So he's the only champion that you're not really going to completely blow up. Actually, it's 32, 33 average. But you can get 34, 35 MR quite comfortably. So here, what do you think is one of the biggest things I'm going to say?
Stop typing.
Typing, yes. So do you see how here, now we've broken it down, we actually saw that we kind of griefed this dragon, right? Like it was kind of us. So this is kind of one of the things that you want to be doing more so. And even when you're on your own and you're not being coached, you want to review your VODs and you want to evaluate what you did wrong in these situations. Because sure, they could have potentially forced it and they might have got poked out. They might have got it, who knows. Talon might have just cleaned them all up. I think the likelihood is that Ezreal Zerath pokes them out while they're doing it. Dragon gets them down. Talon comes along and kills them all. But what we need to do is we need to go, okay, well, instead of typing and saying that others are useless, we need to go, okay, well, we actually griefed by dying by walking into dark area for no real reason when our team was actually on the way. So you want to be basically, even if something that you did wrong wouldn't have determined the game. So let's say, you know, we accidentally walked into an area, we got one shot, but they were on Baron anyway, and they ended with a Baron either way. Just for context, you can't really clear Baron minions because they get reduced damage from your abilities. So even if the things that you could have done might not have changed the game, those are still the things that you want to focus on, because those are the things that you're in control of. Like in this game alone, we've died 3 times. The 3 times that we've died, actually no, 2 of our 3 deaths in this game was because we walked into an area with no vision and got one shot for no real reason. So it's like what we should be doing is, this is just one thing from one game, right? We should be going, okay, well, I need to stop walking in with no vision. I need to wait until my team comes, and then when they come, then I can walk in with them, and, you know, we can get control, we can get vision down, stuff like that. So these are the things that you need to be focusing on, the things that you can do better, because if they don't do anything and they don't, like, you're not here to improve other players at the game. You're here to improve yourself. So, like here, for example, we spent so much time typing here that we still got 2 wards here and a control ward. We could have gone and put that somewhere in our jungle entrances. So, what's to say that we couldn't have, say, popped a control ward here, a normal ward here? Well, not exactly there because we got one here, but we could have potentially gone and, say, warded this area, or instead we're typing, which doesn't really do anything, especially when we actually walked down here and then all the way down to our turret, like to get away from them, sure, but how do we know that they're not in our jungle now? We could have gone and put some defensive vision. Like, we didn't even put a ward on this grump. Like, so we could have at least got some vision now. Actually, no, we did, sorry, my bad. But yeah, we're just sitting here wasting time. And the problem is, what happens here is as soon as you type, somebody else is going to go, oh wait, they're typing, I'm going to type. And then somebody else is going to type, hey, you guys, stop being stupid, stop typing. And then they're typing. And then somebody else is going to type. And then before you know it, your entire team is typing and nobody's actually concentrating on the game. So then it becomes harder to actually win and you end up falling further behind. This game is easily winnable. I don't know if this was a win or a loss, but this is easily winnable.
This was a hard loss.
A hard loss? This is easily winnable. It's 14-10. Like, you've got a Tryndamere, a Lux, an Ivan. Good God. You've got an Akshan late game? Jesus. If Tryndamere goes all in, goes crazy, gets 5 seconds of invulnerability from his ultimate, and then Akshan gets an assist as soon as he dies, Tryndamere's back up and he's sieging their base again. So this game, you have a very, very good comp and it's very easily winnable, but one of the reasons why you're not winning is because of this typing. We're focusing on things that have already happened. Now, this is something that I tell a lot of players in Pro, is when you're playing, say, a professional game, like, obviously, it somewhat crosses over to here, but if, say, I'm coaching a pro team right now, and they're talking on comms about what went wrong, that's bad. That's something that they should never do. You never talk about something that has happened, because that can't be controlled. If you are going to use chat, which I don't suggest anyway, but if you really want to, you should be talking about things that you can do based on that. So say, for example, you're on comms, you should be going, okay, well, even though this happened, because of that, what we're going to do is we're going to go and re-establish control for vision in the top side of the map. We're going to play towards this Tryndamere as much as possible. I'm going to shadow him wherever I can. I don't know if he's got Hull Breaker, actually, but... So see how everybody's still typing? So Talon wasn't actually out of the fight. Talon was there. So we're getting very, very emotional and frustrated at something that, to be fair, like, obviously I don't want to sound like I'm just kind of like picking at you like too much, you know, but we were kind of wrong. And it kind of showed a little bit. So, and see, now everybody's tilted because we're all typing, and we've had so many issues this game, or kind of like problems that we could have dealt with. Here, where everybody's lost focus, we're fighting when MF is dead, or we're even walking up. So what do you think we should have been doing in this situation? So not going to ward, because again, dark, see? So another one of the issues that we're having, consistently, from what we can see from this, is again, we're going to ward when there's no vision. So we can't do that against most teams, never mind against Talon, because he can just hop the wall. And then here, like, it's doomed. But look at Tryndamere top lane. So one thing that we should have been doing is, instead of wasting our wards, so we have 3 wards right here. So where do you think we should have been going to put those wards at this point?
Top side.
Yeah, that's correct. So we go and ward up top side, maybe control ward here, maybe we put, it's Evelyn, so it's kind of rough, so maybe control ward in that area, normal ward here for when her grump spawns, and normal ward on her wolves. And then what's going to happen is, as soon as she hits one of these camps, we're going to see her, and then Tryndamere knows she's in this top side, so he can play around that. So then Tryndamere has this entire, like, this would be a good control wall spot as well, but it's probably going to get cleared pretty quick. So that's why this one's a little bit safer, especially considering the thing with this brush is to get through this entrance. So let me just open it on RiftKit. So to get through this entrance, you have to walk through this bush, right? You have no other option. Whereas in this brush, you can walk past it 50 times not realize. So this is why this one lasts for quite a while, because you have to consciously choose to dip in this brush to see it. And there's so many vision bugs in this game at the moment as well. Sometimes you can walk into a brush that's pink warded and the ward won't actually show. and then you'll walk out of it and not realize. So there's so many kind of issues like that. But either way, it's a bit of a tangent. Either way, so we're gonna go a little further now. So we're already giga tilted. So I can already tell we're super tilted now. So if we look at the scoreboard, Tryndamere has plenty of kills. What actually? You tell me. What can you see in this game? What should you be looking for when it comes to these games?
Look for who's fed and then play around that.
Okay, but what is other factors on this board that you need to be considering right now?
Items.
Okay, that's one thing. Another thing, is Soul a win condition for them?
For that?
Will Soul be a win condition?
Yes.
Will it?
Yeah, they have a lot of mobility to pick off people.
I mean, still, Cloud Soul is one of the few souls in the game that isn't really a win condition. Like, Infernal Soul can be a win condition. A Hex Soul, 100% a win condition. Mountain Soul, 100% a win condition. Well, not even the soul, but the mountains that you stack up provide immense value. And even Ocean. Ocean could be a massive win condition because team fights become really easy. So, right now, we can well, you know, if we manage to steal the dragon, get one in, that's going to delay the elder. But if they get the soul, it really doesn't matter. So right now you should be going, okay, well, dragon doesn't mean anything. I need to play around Tryndamere and just make sure that he can do whatever he wants to, really. Because this guy's huge already. Even though he's only got one item, he's massive. And now we've only just got Ludens at 18 minutes. And see, we're just very focused on typing. When, you know, like, it really doesn't matter. Like, these players don't matter. And what do you think happened here? Okay, so we did see Xerath there, like, a little bit. But what do you think is one of the big issues here? So you see Eve. Oh, Tryndamere's got 3 people on him now. How do you think we could have avoided that?
By warding for him?
Exactly. So if we would have warded for him earlier instead of typing, this might have been avoidable. Because, yes, Xerath did show on this, sure, but this Tryndamere probably wasn't focusing on that. Whereas if this entire jungle is lit up, he's not going to not see him, you know? Like, he's going to know that he's coming, because he'll see him consistently going through. And, does he get a return kill with his ultimate? Okay, no, he actually maybe gets out? No, okay. Okay, he's doomed. Yeah. So see, and that's the thing, it's... To be fair, it's... This really doesn't matter. And that's the thing, like... We didn't really win bot. Like, we did okay, sure, but we could have been way higher up. Like, the fact that we died 2 times within laning phase means that we did not lose. We did not win bot. So if you're playing something like Lux and you die twice within laning phase and get forced to reset on such janky kind of bats, then we didn't win lane. Like, your goal on Lux is to get through lane with kills, with an advantage. Without giving anything away, because this is the thing with Lux, you're so long range. Like, your E is massive. Like, so you have such a long range that you should never really be in that much danger. Like, your E is like 1100 range, like, which is insane. So no ADC can kind of contest that. Obviously, you can get like Varus Q, which is like 1400 range. But nobody can really contest your range. Like, that's kind of one of the things to Lux, is your spacing is super important. And, I mean, we still haven't even hit true damage spike yet. So let's just have a look at this. Okay, so we get a nice shield off. Okay, we get a huge shutdown. Huge shutdown, that's massive. So if you, what were you thinking in this moment now? I know this isn't live coaching, but do you remember what you were thinking right now?
The thing I got a shutdown on him.
Okay. So what does that mean for you?
That means I can buy a large wall.
You've just got a massive injection of gold. Massive injection of gold. 1,000 gold, like instead of 1 kill, you've just got 3. Over 3. So it's like you are now, in theory, well, 5 for 4 instead of 3 for 4. Because there's those 2 extra kills as well. So right now, you're huge. And you've got stacks. So, you know, we're very, very strong. So we get a lot of here. We keep her alive. Nice big shield. We kill the Yone too. Okay, unlucky. Unlucky. So let's see what we could have done different here. So again, the talent's there. Obviously we did see that, but... So what do you think is bad here though? Like our positioning, we're here, the talent's here, we queue him, and then we walk here for some reason, and then up here. You should be hugging this wall as much as possible to stay away from him.
Okay.
Just because as the farther away from him you get, the better. And obviously, luckily, we got hit by him here, and we're kind of set up for a 3-man. It's kind of a shame. We did have a lot of gold, but, you know, we can reset. We get needlessly large, which is good. Because, you know, we're pretty big. And this game, we need Rabadons to carry. But see, look at that damage. We've just halved Ezreal. Over half his HP. 60% HP with a single E. So right now, if we get a Q on any of them, they're dead. They're very dead. So another reason why Rabadon's is good here as well is because none of them are really going to build resistances. Obviously, it's a very expensive item. You need to get to 25, 50 gold now to actually finish it. But overall, it's going to give you quite a lot of value. So right here, we're pushing a tower. I mean, we don't really have push power. I mean, maybe we get it, but... Yeah, but we get caught. So see, like, we don't really have the power to push this tower out of nowhere. So what should we have done in this situation, do you think?
I have no idea.
We should have just grouped. Like, we're already a man down. If we can maybe just snipe one person away here, that's good for us. Whereas, again, we've got this entire area that's dark, and we're pushing on this tower right now. Like, these bounties aren't going to drop anytime soon unless we earn a lot of gold. So right here, this was kind of a little grief to push this. And we just both die for it. So here, we just need to group. Like, at the end of the day, we're a support. We do a ridiculous amount of damage, but we can't really do it too much. And now look how low these are. They're now super low. And now we're not around for Baron either. So this push is another... this decision to push this was really, really bad. Especially considering Baron is up and they are in a position where they can do it very, very easily. Especially because of Yone. Like, he does so much damage. And again, Baron only has 70 MR. So Eve, a mage that can consistently proc abilities and can spam abilities... She's gonna take that Baron very, very quick. Same as Xerath, he's gonna be able to do a lot to it. Ezreal's gonna do a lot to it because he's got some magic damage too. And see here, we're just like this is the thing as well, right? And this is one of the things when we start getting so upset, and this is what I've been saying a lot of a message with you. When we start getting emotional about the game, you stop thinking with logic and reason. And you start just thinking with, like, anger and upset and frustration. And this is a thing that you have to get rid of. Because right here, and this is another thing, right? Because we've seen that the two things that got you really tilted this game were, and you know, I hate to say it, but they were your fault. Like, you were the one that kind of started that chain that ended up leading up into it. So it's like, here, like we're saying, good job giving them Baron, but if we hadn't have pushed that tower in mid, we would have been around for Baron. At Lux, have you ever tried stealing a Baron as Lux? Like, I'm sure you have, right? Like, your damage is insane. Like, At this point in the game, with double needlessly large rods, you're going to be doing so much damage on that Baron that if you time it right, you're going to steal it 9 out of 10 times. Like, especially because in this elo, junglers won't really use their abilities to stack damage, or the enemies won't really hold the objective, and you'll just one-shot it. So here we're pushing out a wave, you know, not too bad. We do want to get to this Rabadon spike. We're walking a very dangerous way here, though. It would not surprise me if we get one shot here. Okay, Talon is in mid, to be fair. Oh, but this is also bad. So why do you think this is bad? Did you pop that cone on purpose or by accident?
Popped on purpose. I want to see if Eve wants to kill me.
Okay, no. Because if you pop this, you tell them where you are. They can see this on the map even if they have no vision. So they know right now that somebody's flanking, and Tryndamere is actually flanking from bot side. So now they're going to think Tryndamere could be flanking from top, so they're going to start backing away when they shouldn't have really, you know? So we don't want to give them any information when we're in this kind of situation, because if Talon jumps over this wall, we're already in a really, really bad position right now, because Talon could just jump on us and one-shot us. So... okay, nice. We got the Ezreal. That's good. Okay, another one. The action's still chasing, which, okay. A little grief, but it is what it is. Okay, we stop this push. Okay, this is good. We clear this wave. Well, I mean, we can't clear the wave because obviously Baron, this is what I was saying earlier, they take so much reduced damage from Baron buff that it's kind of hard to clear. But if we can get this cannon... okay, unfortunate. So this plant is fine because you're in a safe position when you popped it, so that's okay. But here what we're doing is we're just waiting for this wave. Okay. Oh. Okay, so now we want to be resetting. So instant reset. Okay, good. Okay, but we don't want to tie. To be fair, you kind of made it a lot harder to carry. So again, we need to be thinking of ourselves more. We need to be being introspective. Because the thing is, one thing that always helped me is I always thought if Faker was in this game, he would win it. You know? Now, obviously, Faker is a god. But he got to that point by analyzing his own mistakes, seeing what he could do better, and just looking to improve constantly. So this is what we need to do as well. So we are coming towards the end now. We do have our Rabadons.
And the game's over after. There's nothing else.
Let's have a look. Let's see what happens. Because I don't think this game is over yet. Tryndamere does get caught, but... oh. So we burnt Flash. Ooh. So see, this was another one of those mistakes where we've just griefed because one of our team members are griefing and we wanted to be part of it, you know? So we were trying to save this Tryndamere. We don't want to be doing that. We need to be staying safe and playing for us. We are a carry, and this is the thing you have to realize. You are a carry. You're not a support at this point. When you're playing something like Lux, who is very squishy, you're not really a support. It's a kill lane. So you're just a mage that's playing inside of bot lane. Right now, you can't walk up and save this guy, and he's going to get out anyway. He's got his E. So he's just going to E over a wall and get safety, whereas us, we don't get that luxury. And now we flash a Xerath ultimate, which would have done damage, sure, but it wouldn't have killed us, and the Eve runs us down. So it's like here, we have to remember that if our teammates are doing something stupid, do not follow them and try and do... you don't want to do something stupid because your teammates did something stupid, if that makes sense. Like, if it's something that you can impact and that will give you a positive result for yourself, then you want to do it. But if it's not going to give you a positive result for yourself, you don't want to go for it. Unless it's like, unless it's like 50-50 and it's going to like completely change the game. So this is the thing, like, so do you see what I've been saying now in the fact that there's so many things that are going wrong within your game right now? And this is just one game. So this was quite a long VOD review for just one of your games. So if there's this many things going wrong within 30 minutes, then there's a lot of things going wrong in a lot of your games, right? So it's like, you have to focus on the things that you're doing wrong rather than what your team are doing. And please, please, please turn chat off. Like, you don't need it. It's not going to do anything. Like, you're playing a champion where you don't need to call for rotations or assistance or your team to do certain things. You can communicate fully with pings what you want to do. And if you ping something and your team don't want to go for it, then just ignore it. Just don't go for it, you know? So, the things you mainly need to focus on is A, actually thinking about your back timings, because throughout your laning phase, your back timings were horrendous. Later on into the game, you did get some really nice picks, and you're thinking of your abilities in the correct way when you use your ultimate, maximizing the damage from your ultimate, things like that. But we're failing our resets. We're going way too aggressive at points where we can't afford to because we can't back on a good amount. So what I want you to do from this is go into games, and your main focus is going to be to pressure lane as much as you can, but not go into any positions where it's dangerous. Try and track the jungler. If you don't see the jungler, presume they're with you until you see them elsewhere. Don't walk into anywhere that's dark, and just make sure that you're only really going super aggressive when you have the goal to do so. So you need to be getting your soak shoes, ideally on your first back. That's the crucial point. But if you have to back and get brown boots and a dark seal, that's okay. You then need 800 gold on the next back, and then you can get them. You should never be getting your soak shoes any later than your second reset on Lux because of, as I said, the amount of value they give. So if you can have soak boots and your dark seal by level 6, you're going to find games so much easier, it's unreal. Then on top of that, make sure that we're not typing. Make sure that we're not going for objectives when people aren't with us. We want to look for wards, and we want to evaluate our win conditions. For example, a Tryndamere, he is going to be our win conditions. So, just to note them off, number 1, resets. So this is your biggest goal for now. Number 2, chat off. This is going to be another big goal. And a subsection of this is don't get as emotional. It's just a game. Like, you did so many things wrong. Like, obviously, no offense, but it's normal. It's gold elo. Your third thing is just going to be play around vision. So the vision game is super important on squishy champions. So these are the 3 main things. Obviously, if you want to tackle other things that we've discussed, sure. But these are the 3 main things that you really need to focus on. And I promise you right now, if you focus on these 3 things, you will be platinum within a month. Like, it's not a massive leap. And these things are keeping you down here so hard right now. And that's what's making the game feel hopeless for you. Because these things aren't being tackled. Now, another thing you could do as well is if you wanted to review this video when it's on YouTube, have you got any sticky notes?
Yeah, but I don't usually use sticky notes.
Okay. So if you have some, use them. If you don't, then whatever. But what you want to do is write down some of the things that we've covered on sticky notes and just stick it around your monitor. And then whenever you're going to do something in game, you'll see on your monitor, oh, I shouldn't do this. So whenever you start to walk into a dark area, you'll see on your monitor a sticky note saying, don't walk in unwarded area. And then you'll go, oh, shit, okay. And then you won't die. And then you'll save yourself a death, and then you'll stay alive. You'll be able to get a better reset. You'll be able to have more pressure. You'll actually have more impact on the game. But again,
how would I? Sorry.
No worries.
How would I set up dragon or like just vision?
So
if
you need.
I don't get there early.
You need other people with you. So you just can't do it on your own.
Don't follow me.
If they don't,
Usually they don't follow me.
If they don't, you can't get it. Go push a wave instead and get prio. Like, at the end of the day, you're a support. If they don't want to follow you for vision, it's whatever. I like, to be honest, in gold elo, like, even if they get a dragon, like, 9 times out of 10, it's not really going to matter. Most games end before soul even comes around lately. And gold elo is such a mess that even when they've got dragons, like, like it was like maybe 2 games ago. I was playing in kind of gold elo, and they literally had Elder Dragon, and they still lost the team fight. They had like Elder Dragon with Hextech Soul, and they still lost the team fight because they just played it god awful. So this is the thing. Like it doesn't matter. Like if you're going to die to get vision for that dragon, then just forget about it. Just forget about it. Just don't walk there. Get prio, push lanes, ward up your jungle instead. So like you want to have safety wards, right? So instead of running like you do all the way through like this and trying to get a ward on dragon, instead focus on other areas. Get a ward here, then get a ward here, then maybe in here. Okay, you've used 3 wards. Okay, doesn't matter. Like then if you get all the way through here and say somebody is coming with you, maybe you can get a control ward on Baron, on dragon. That's fine. But these 3 wards are going to be more valuable because not only it's kind of like a bread trail, right? Have you ever played like Minecraft?
I don't play Minecraft.
Okay. Have you ever played kind of like any like adventure game, like dungeon or anything? Like what? Well, the point I'm making is what you'd usually do is say, I'll use Minecraft for example. What you do is you put torches through caverns so that you find your way back. It's kind of the same thing, but with wards. You put wards through this area so you know that this is a safe route. So say for example if they come, then you know, okay, there is absolutely nobody in this way. So I can run this way to safety because there's wards, right? So yeah, like play the vision game properly and just be way more careful about dark areas. Either way, I'll end the recording there. So I'll end the recording and then I'll put it on YouTube later.